allow wait
for people to come in. Let's see. Oh, do we have one person in here? Two. All right.
How do we see who's here? Can we see who's here?
Let's see. See if they start chatting, you should be able to start to see their name. Whoever is here with us, just type a comment, please.
You're like not in the camera.
Sitting on my log.
Nobody.
It's just 1 minute. Let's see. Explore around. Live on YouTube.
One. I wish we could see who was here.
It's weird. Usually, if they type a comment.
Well, yeah, then we can see.
Yeah. That's what pops up. Let's see. Chat with us. Cool. Just like it just pop up. Like, oh, is this thing working?
Where is that on?
I just got a notification from YouTube.
Oh. My cheekbones look good. This light is really bright.
There you go. Once you sit back, get there. Get some stragglers in. Let's see, I'll put the polls. We are live. 4 people in the chat.
Hi, guys. We don't know who you are, so say hello.
Yep. Drop a comment just so we know everything's ship-shape and smooth. We are live. 4 people in the chat. Post it up in my story.
Do you want to check on the bites?
Yeah. I think we got like 8 minutes left.
No, we put it in like...
We'll check on it in a minute.
For the 4 of you who are in the chat, we see you. Say hello.
Say hello here. Wonder, can they chat? I wonder if like I have to like clicky something.
Welcome to the chat. Remember to guard your privacy.
Attention. Aha!
Paul Clifton.
What's going on, Paul?
Paul comments a lot.
Cool.
He always has pretty interesting stuff to say.
Yeah, definitely be curious to see what questions and commentary you have.
Let me pull up this comment.
Yes.
I don't know. I wish that like... Paul, where do you train? That's what I want to know. I want to know like more.
That's cool. I'd like to know where everybody trains.
Everyone trains so that we can visit.
Exactly. Do a little cross training.
Yeah. Ooh, if anyone, oh, what do you say? Not a whole lot. Work is done for the week. Waiting on comp night at the gym. Ooh,
nice. Ooh, that's a good night. Let's see here. What's the class look like there? Oh, Colorado. Ooh, 10th Planet, Colorado Springs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we've been wanting to go to Colorado.
We have been wanting to go to Colorado. I heard it's really nice there.
All right. Combat action. I'll be right back.
Are you competing soon, or I feel this is weird. I feel like I'm talking to no one, but that's what it's like when I make videos too. I don't talk to anyone. Cop 9 is really just all sparring. Yeah, competition training is no joke. Are you competing soon, or do you like to just go for fun? Whoa, from Amsterdam. That's cool. We're all the way from New York. I just had my first trial class last week. Super duper rookie over here. Oh my gosh. How did it go, Sydney? Tell us all about it. Jiu-Jitsu is so scary when you first start. Tore my ACL long ago, and the agreement with the wife when I would start training again was no more competition. Oh man. As long as you can beat up those young punks, that's all that matters. Hello, Sagar. Hi, Amelia. Yes, Sydney. Paul says, keep going, no quitting. It's all worth it. It definitely is all worth it. It was fun. I got my ass kicked though, but people were super helpful. Your videos definitely made me go. Been wanting to go for such a long time. Yay! Yeah, that's so awesome. It's always nice when people are helpful when you first start training. Planning on going Thursday. That's so awesome. How many injuries have I had? A bunch. Only one that kept me out of training for a while was my thumb. I tore the ligament here and I fractured the bone, and I was in a cast. Other stuff has just been little nagging injuries that never really kept me out of training. Not sure if you made a video about it, but maybe you could talk about how to deal with burnout. Yes. I feel like I'm currently going through a little burnout stage myself. There are classes every day, but women-only classes just once a week, but going to the mixed classes feels like such a big step. It is definitely helpful to train with both men and women. I think it's super helpful to train using all the action.
I was doing something important. Wow.
He's making us food. Let's see. Sydney's from Amsterdam.
Oh, cool.
She just did her first trial class last week, and she liked it.
Going to the mixed classes feels like such a big step. Yeah, for sure.
I think it is nice when a school does have women-only classes, especially I think for women that first start, like when they first step on the mats, it's like very, I think, comforting to be in a room full of women versus like walking into a room with like 30 other guys. But that's usually how it goes. Like, I think it's pretty rare that there is like always a women class available for women to start with. But I think that can be really helpful. But I think it's important to eventually step into like the mixed classes. One, because training with guys is awesome, even though we talk a lot about on this channel, like it can be difficult sometimes, but like it is really awesome. And I think from a self-defense standpoint, it's important to train with men as well. Do you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. It is to get that mix. Funny enough.
Hello from India. Oh, make us some food. I love Indian food.
Indian food. But she started out with privates first, as she said in a video, before hopping into the mixed classes. So it definitely helps. In the beginning of jiu-jitsu, it's definitely hard for like women to start. I remember when I first started, there was a few of my friends that were in with my instructor that gave me my black belt, Mike. And it was just that even though there's just these guys, it's like it's important that the community is good, and it makes the transition going into mixed classes a lot more comfortable.
Yeah. Popping in on my quick lunch break. Where are you from? Giovanka.
It's almost
It's 6
6
o'clock in
over
New
here.
York. Where do you live where it's lunch?
Yeah, let us know where you all are from. A couple of you did it, but definitely.
Yeah, and we were asking before. We want to know where everyone trains too.
Yes, send us your school so we can come train and have some good times.
Not that we can stalk you, but we just want to know.
I just want to train.
Illinois.
Oh, that's where my brothers
Mhm.
living these days. No day at work day. Nice. Let's see. Not sure if you made a video about it, but maybe if you could talk about how to deal with burnout.
I said I feel like I'm kind of like I said I don't know. Am I dealing with burnout or am I just like focused on a lot of other things?
I think it's just a lot of other things. Like when I think of like burnout, I think of like going through like a long training week and like your body's fried. But maybe you can clear that up for what was her name?
Sagar.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sagar. Are you like talking about have you been training for a long time and you feel like you've been training, say like, training 6 days a week for like a very long time, that can possibly maybe lead to burnout. Or maybe if you competed and that I feel like can lead to burnout. If you kind of train in that like competition style for too long without like taking a break, that can maybe lead to burnout. I feel like a lot of times if I spend, like a training camp, like getting ready for a competition, usually after the camp is done and like after I compete, I'm like ready to kind of like just take a break for a couple of days and then get back to training.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, there's a reason why UFC fighters take breaks after their fight. Like when you prepare for a competition, it's a lot of time invested physically and mentally, and you gotta have to reboot because you have just those feelings of nervousness like sitting in you for so long. You go through the competition, it just feels like just a complete like dump, like you just want to reset.
Well, now we have a place to stay in Colorado.
Oh, perfect. We'll definitely take it up on that, Paul.
Is there anything either of you do when you feel like you were stuck in the same spot, like not getting better but not getting worse? Yeah, that's like me right now. My journey is rough right now, guys. I don't like. Yes. What am I doing to help that? Nothing really at the moment.
Oh my goodness, like that. You've been going to practicing. I mean,
yeah, I mean, let's see. What advice would I give myself? What advice would you give me?
The advice I'd give you.
And who asked that question?
That was
Giovanka.
Giovanka. Your name is awesome, by the way. But the advice to have, and I've told her this many times in the past, is just kind of noting things down and just like having it set in front of you, like the same way. I mean,
sorry to interrupt you.
Oh my gosh.
I mentioned this in a video like a couple of videos ago. And I told myself I was going to do it and I haven't done it yet. But advice that I gave to get better was like, if you feel like you've hit a plateau and you're not getting any better, write down like one particular move that you want to get better at and focus on it for like a month or 2 months and try to get to that like position or submission or try to do that pass or try to do that one takedown every single time you roll. Work on that for a month and then see where you're at. And then maybe that particular move will become part of your game. And then working on it for that like long amount of time, a month, 3 months, 6 months, whatever you want to do, you'll definitely get better at it. And then it could possibly open up to other things as well.
And like to just kind of like piggyback off of that is just like, for me, like when it comes to that, it's like taking that move and then it's just like connecting the dots. So like if you're working from like side mount and you've been trying to transition to get to full mount to the arm bar, like you're taking that time, like, okay, like I'm going to make it a point to like make my transition to full mount, like clean. Like I'm not stressing about if I'm getting to the submission, that's a couple steps ahead. And I just like taking those chunks, like how consistently in practice am I getting to the position that I want? And then after practice, like you kind of like get feedback from like your coach or one of the higher belts, like, okay, like if you rolled with someone, like how did I feel? Be honest. Like how did my attempts to get to full mount went? Or if you did get on someone like, hey, like I just need feedback, how did I feel? And then that's gonna really help that progression.
I think maybe also after you said like talking to your coach or a higher belt, maybe doing like a private with your coach.
That would definitely help.
That could possibly help because they can, you know, maybe like let them know in advance, like, hey, I would like to do a private. And I remember one time I wanted to do a private with Mateus, and he was like, okay, let me like really watch you for like a week or so, and then we can talk about what's going on. So maybe like let your coach know you're interested so that they can really watch you when you're rolling, and then have like a better idea of when you do a private of what stuff you can work on.
All right, we're gonna keep this going. Oh, Yamilia Rodriguez asks, how many BJJ injuries have you had?
Answer that.
You did? Oh, you got to catch me up to speed. I was trying to get some snacks. How many? Surprisingly not as many, but my knees have definitely had a battle. I've never completely torn anything or broken any bones, thank goodness, but my knee has definitely swollen up like a giant balloon.
Yeah, we were on our plane ride home from DR, and his I was gonna say this plane swelled up. His knee swelled up, not
the plane swelled up.
Yeah, it just randomly like got super swollen.
It just randomly,
and we have no idea. Still to this day, we have no idea why.
To this day,
you went to the hospital.
I got sick when I was there.
I was scared that he had Zika. And we have no idea why your knee got swollen.
Bam. That's just the alarm to check on the snacks, guys.
Go check on them. It's been like a half hour.
They're not ready yet when I checked.
But that was like 7 minutes ago.
She's just saying this because she's hungry.
We have Brazilian cheese bites in the oven.
I'll get them in a second. We gotta catch up speed. I want to see what all people say.
They're gonna burn.
They're fun. Trust me, you would have been like, they're not ready yet. Put them back in again.
Okay, let's see. That's really great advice. Never thought about a private before. Thank you both so much. You guys are inspiring. I'm not. Unfortunately, back to work. Bye, Giovanka.
Bye. Take care.
Let's see. What is the best leg position, and what? And
why is the right answer honey hole?
Okay. Do you guys call it honey hole, 411,
or inside Ashi, as John Danaher says,
or inside Senkaku?
Inside. Oh yes, inside Senkaku. Proper Japanese definitions.
As a woman Rolling with bigger, stronger ducky frog dog.
Can
you awesome. Speak on things that work against men and things that are inefficient or ineffective positions, techniques, strategies? Oh my gosh, look, Derek joined.
All right.
Oh shoot. She didn't change her last name on her YouTube.
Oh dang. Good. You answer that question. I'll be back.
Well, for the 99% says inside Senkaku. Ooh, fancy. Honey hole or saddle. That was the other one. Okay, what am I supposed to answer? Can you speak on things that work against men and things that are inefficient or ineffective positions, techniques, strategies? So I've talked a lot about how much I love Spider Guard. Once I started working Spider Guard, I found that because, I mean, mostly everyone, but especially as women, our bottom half is always stronger than our upper half, right? So Spider Guard is all legs, it's all your hips. So I started finding that being able to control my partner, my opponent with my legs and my hips just worked really well for me. And that allows me to set up different positionings where I can come completely underneath the person, I can come underneath their base, and even if they're a lot bigger than me, if I can come completely underneath their base, I can usually still get a sweep because I'm coming completely underneath them. What doesn't work? Triangles are really hard on bigger people. A lot of times they can just like throw my legs to the side and
try not to get smashed
over. What else is ineffective? Kimuras from Close Guard. And if you guys watch my videos, then you know how much I love Kimuras. And on big people, I just don't find that Kimuras are super effective from Close Guard. Maybe it can open up, I don't know, something else. Maybe a bump sweep, but a bump sweep would also be really difficult on someone who's like a lot bigger. Yeah, I find that Kimuras from close guard, when I go to set it up, they're able to pull their arm in a way that then negatively affects my shoulder. So then I just let go, and I usually open up my guard if it's like someone that's really big. I don't like to play close guard with a really big person. I'd rather open up and come underneath.
Yep, maneuver. Oh, Nigel Thornberry.
Yes, Nigel Thornberry.
Of course, he would love your shirt. I guarantee he's a Nickelodeon kid.
Who loves my shirt? Oh, nice shirt. Should we try the cheese bites?
Yes. See how they are. Delicious. Snack vision.
They need sauce.
That's what I was thinking, right? I was like, oh, like what's inside these things here? Do we have any sauce?
No.
Womp. Oh,
Yeah,
well.
they definitely need some sauce.
All right. Where are we at here?
I was answering that question about things that work.
Against the big people?
Yeah. So I said, like I talked about spider guard coming underneath their base. Triangles don't tend to work because they can just like,
unless you're Keenan Cornelius, you're not doing it.
Throw my legs to the side. Kimuras don't work a ton. What else? Honestly, if someone's a lot bigger and stronger, I want to get around to their back.
I mean, I was literally about to say that.
Mhm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to get around to the back. Arm drags, not so much where like I'm pulling their weight, but I'm using it to move my body around to their back.
Marcelo Garcia.
What else? Legs, toe holds.
Oh my gosh. Heel hooks.
Heel hooks. Yes. If I can get onto the leg, get a good bite. That's good.
There you go. Yeah, that's what you do with big people.
Yeah.
Don't try to pull guard or triangle.
Or if you're gonna pull guard, then like you want to make sure you come underneath their base.
Underneath their base, and make sure you make a decision right then and there, or else you're gonna get squished.
Yeah.
You gotta make moves.
Yeah. And with big people, you know, if you get on bottom side control, if you get in bottom mount, I don't expend a ton of energy when I get there, because like I'll try to frame a little bit, but like doing a ton of bumps or just like moving around a ton, it's not really going to work, because if they're a lot bigger and stronger, right? So I'm going to wait for them to like give me a little like inch of space, half an inch of space to start like maybe hip escaping or getting my leg inside so that I can start maybe getting a butterfly hook to regain my guard or something. But like I don't waste a ton of energy trying to move them. I wait for them to like open up and give me that like split second to maybe start getting a hook in. To
chill
start
and
regaining my
frame.
guard. Yeah.
Chill and frame. And
Wasting a
find
ton
your
of energy
space.
isn't gonna
There you
help.
go. Paul. It's on the point.
Marcelo is
Pal
the
de
man.
queso. So you know what? This is I bought these from Food Bazaar, so they're definitely not like the the tradition, but they get the job done. They just need a little
They
sauce.
don't actually. They need some sauce.
That's what I say. They need some sauce, but she's still eating it. It's like,
Because I just worked out. I'm hungry. Marcelo is the man. Consumed every video of him I could find when I started out.
Yep, he has.
My current coach is a black belt under Marcelo.
Yes.
So we're technically like a Marcelo affiliation.
Yeah.
And he's trained with him a lot. He used to go to Marcelo's.
Yeah, I used to go to Marcelo's for a while, almost like half a year. It was really great training over there. Bernardo Faria, he's a really great guy.
Todd has like, what did someone say one time about you? That you're like one of the greatest black belts that like no one knows about. Like Todd has trained with so many high level people and trained at so many like great academies. You know, I like always kind of just forget that like you've had all of this like really awesome training before I even did jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, well before. I've had some good adventures. So if you guys want to ask any questions about my travels or stories.
Had like, I mean, he has so much more experience than me, and he's trained with so many like big names, high level people out there. So ask him questions because he's got the experience.
Yeah, nice. I wish. Well,
you trained at at least in New York, you belong to Marcelo's for a little bit. He belonged to
Marcelo's,
Unity, Essential under JT.
What is Amelia saying over here?
Do you guys offer private online BJJ sessions? I could. He could.
Yeah, absolutely.
If anyone wants to.
Some things there's in that. And then
we both have done that before.
Yes, we have done that before. Awesome. And yeah, guys, feel free to ask any questions about anything.
Techniques. We have a black belt here, so
Jiu-Jitsu related. If you're having any like struggles, so speaking of like whoever said burnout, was Sagar, got it. Sagar asked that question. Fire away. Let's talk Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah. Jiu-Jitsu nerds.
Jiu-Jitsu nerds unite.
I think Todd is more of a Jiu-Jitsu nerd than I am.
I like knowing out about techniques. How should a man roll with a woman? Okay, that's a great question. So I think it's just kind of the perspective, right? So when I rolled with women in the past, I don't go with the mindset of like, hey, I'm just going to drop every ounce of weight I have on you and use the strength. I try to be almost more flow. I try to be more technical. So for example, generally if I roll with a woman, I've gotten to experience as a black belt, but when I started out as a blue belt, I'd make it a point to like work for my guard. Why? Because especially then I knew my guard stunk. I still think there's plenty of more to work on. I'm a black belt. So that's a nice message to you guys, but I just take my time and just, even if they happen to pass my guard, it's like, you know what, this is an opportunity for me to work from different positions, but I wouldn't do so as like, oh, I'm just going to lay, right? Because I think that's like an apprehension that especially a lot of men have start, well, oh no, if I'm rolling with a woman, that automatically means I just need to be like a rag doll and do nothing. But then it's like, okay, now you're both not benefiting because you're doing nothing. And then your partner who's feeling like, well, how am I going to get better doing this? You have to just keep your body moving. So like if she passes my guard, I'm going to recover. If I try to recover and she tries to take my back, I'm going to try and work my back. I just try to keep the pace going as much as I can and not be so dependent upon my strength. Now, as I roll with females that are a little higher level, I know I can scale the intensity a little bit more, but I don't try to drop all 215 pounds on top of me because then that's no fun, right? Like obviously, like if I have the strength and weight, like I could pin you down, but that's not going to be beneficial to help you technically. Like I want to, plus that's a boring roll, right? I think we can all agree if we ever seen a match and just like, I'm just going to hold side mount for 20 minutes and I'm going to be a champion of Naga, the world champion. Yeah. I don't think anybody here wants that. Like you want to have a roll that progresses. There's escapes, there's submissions and passes, stuff like that. So that's how I'd roll with a woman, is just being mindful of the weight I'm putting on, but at the same time, keeping a good pace that we both benefit.
Find it can be hard to balance between giving them enough resistance versus not crushing them with excessive weight physically. Yeah, and I think that comes with time.
Yes.
On the mat. Like, obviously, if you're new, and then even if like
we have a special guest.
There's a dog. Even if you're not so new, I think it just takes a long time to find that balance. But especially if you are newer, you're not really going to know like how to leverage your weight, how to control your weight. White belts that go into rolls and it's like do or die till the death, like you're rolling with. But I think finding that balance of learning how to roll with someone who's smaller than you just takes time.
And Paul, is there like a specific position where you find trouble? Like, for example, like if you're like inside mount and you want to like do a good job controlling, do you find like you put more weight on than necessary? Because I find actually, like for men in particular, when it comes to passing, I think that's where they get the most like hesitant. So like, oh, I'm going to do like a step pass. And like, if they're not really in control of their weight, that's like easy way to like put pressure on the back and the neck.
How is it for you having a black belt fiance as a lower belt? Hello, Elizabeth. I'm a white belt with a brown belt boyfriend. People always say you're so lucky to him. Oh, I am. Let's see. How is it having a black belt fiance as a lower belt? It's like the greatest thing ever. I feel like
What are you
no.
doing? Get down.
Yeah, I feel like it's the best because there's always someone to drill with. There's always someone to roll with, like after hours, not during class. Um, for me, I feel like I'm in a really great position because I always have someone to like ask questions
Anytime.
or like talk to him about things, and he's already been through those things, and technically he knows for the most part like what I'm talking with and how to help me, what I'm talking about and how to help me. Um I don't know. I prefer it than like if my fiance was a white belt.
It'd be tough. Like, like, oh, I gotta teach you stuff. Like there, like nope. Anytime, roles, techniques,
And then like in like our personal situation, I mean, it's really because of you that I started training jujitsu to begin with. So he really helped me actually take class because I just took, when we first started dating, I took privates with him for a long time. And it took me a real long time to actually go to class. But when
it's a tough hurdle to jump.
Yeah, but when we did start going to class, I only went to your classes for like a couple of weeks just to kind of like get comfortable. I felt like he was kind of like my safety net.
Yeah, supervise.
And then once I started getting more comfortable, I ventured into like the other coaches class. So that was really helpful for me, just having him. You know, he used to be one of the instructors at our old school. So yeah.
Yeah, it's important. Like there, and just happy to like to support her and like push her to go forward, because I definitely, there was a previous comment like, oh, just like that apprehension of like jumping into a mixed class. It's a big jump for ladies because it's just unless you grew up into martial arts, like it's a different type of culture. It's a brand new, and she didn't have that background before. And be like, whoa. So like
it's
this
totally different, you know.
Totally different
perspective. I think sometimes like we can forget, you know, for those of us who have been doing it now for a while, like we can forget how hard it was like in the beginning and how hard it is for like those of you who are just starting now, like what you're going through. Like it's really difficult.
And for Todd, how is it for you? Well, Elizabeth, it's simply wonderful. I have a very strong, beautiful woman here.
I've been very difficult.
And she trusts me. Don't worry, I won't hold it.
You
when
don't have
she
to be so nice all the time. Like I've been very difficult with jujitsu with him.
Let me speak.
Where I want to like rip his eyeballs out because I would be so frustrated.
Yeah, because you'd be so impatient. Don't worry, I'll tell the whole shebang here. Yes, she'd be so impatient, and just the demeanor that you see now, where she's very calm and stuff like that. When she's a white belt, she, just as you described, would try to tear my head off. Little did she know that like that would never happen. I'd just put her in certain positions and submissions. She's like, "Urgh," and I'd be like, "Are you finished now?" "Yeah, I'm finished now."
And then I would like leave the mat.
And then she would go pout, crying, and then we talk and come back. And that was kind of like the cycle in the beginning. Don't worry, it wasn't all sunflowers and rainbows. But what I was gonna say is this always, and I tell her this all the time, it's great to see her development from that point until now. It's like night and day. If you saw Kim as a white belt, you'd be like, this is the same woman that I found on YouTube talking about jiu-jitsu and encouraged me to get my start. There's absolutely no way. So you guys are welcome.
Yeah. Any advice for people who aren't looking to compete but are only at class to learn self-defense, get better at BJJ, and have a good workout? Keep showing up. I mean, not everyone there is looking to compete. Maybe if you're at a school that's very competition focused, I don't know. But you know, not everyone that trains is there to compete. Some schools have competition classes, and that's like Paul was talking about earlier. He's going to one tonight where it's pretty much just all rolling. Todd used to hold competition classes at our old gym, and it would just be like, oh my gosh, we would do like 10 rounds of like 10 minutes. Like it was really, really intense. And if that's not for you, like that's totally fine. But yeah, not everyone is there to compete. So, and usually I find that like the more you go and you get to know your teammates and you get to know like the way that people roll, like people know who competes, people know who, you know, the other people that don't compete, and people learn how people roll and how they train. So it's like, if your teammates are aware that like you're not interested in competition and you're just there to learn jujitsu, like they'll you know, if they're good teammates and if they're good rolling partners, then they'll know how to roll with you. Versus like rolling with someone who's maybe has a competition coming up, they'll like, you know, step it up a notch.
Let's see. Yeah, and then try to just like go to class. Like for me, like 6 a.m. class, like early morning classes are generally like a good time to go. Like generally, like the pace is a little slower, and they're not necessarily looking to be competitors mostly at that time. Generally, like I feel like the evening is where they all come out.
Tuning in from Montreal. Hello from New York. Schools are finally reopened. Thank goodness. It's been a long journey. Do y'all have any IBJJF tournament tips? Yes.
Ooh, okay. Any tips? So give us some specifics here. Like, is it the rules? Is it like
because
preparing
rules
for
are
competition?
a big thing with IBJJF. Yeah, I guess let us know like what you're thinking about, because there's a lot of tips that we can give. Sydney started up last, but as the question is, any specific weight training next to BJJ, or to complement, and perhaps are there any programs available? Yes, we train differently.
Yes.
So we're both certified trainers. I don't really train people anymore, but that is Todd's main thing. He is certified in functional patterns, which is kind of like a different, if anyone on here like doesn't know what functional patterns is, how would you, it's more so strength training for injury, correct?
Strength training for injury, but like it's whether, for example, I just had a client today that she's about 70 years old, like having knee issues, but it's also beneficial for athletes. So particular athlete example, Kyle Dake, very high level wrestler. He strictly trains in that platform. He is honestly what got me into it. A few years back in his career, he had torn labrums, knee, basically any injury that you could name, like puts some jiu-jitsu people to shame. It's like, wow, this kid's career is about to over, and he's like 26. So it's like, wow, like you're at the peak.
Ooh, hi from Brazil.
And
cool. We're eating Brazilian cheese bites and they're not very good.
Oh my gosh, woman. Let's see. He's 26 here. We got to, this is our first live. We'll coordinate together here. At 26, and then I saw him like a couple years later, and he was winning a world championship. I got, what is he doing? So I looked up his trainer he's working with, and just what was different was just like the type of movements they were doing. This like total body, working a lot with like pulleys, kettlebells, things of that nature, and just the level of precision I saw. I was like, wow, like those movements like look like something I do in wrestling. So like I dove in further. I found a friend of mine through jiu-jitsu was teaching it, and then the rest was history. And I just got hooked, and I've been working with a diverse amount of people ever since, whether it's for jiu-jitsu, whether it's for people taking care of their knees, all that good stuff. So if you have any questions, it's functional patterns. Feel free to Google and check them out.
Okay, so now to answer her question, like, would you recommend anything specifically for jiu-jitsu, like weight training and stuff?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend like taking on functional patterns, just because of the fact that it is diverse and will get you really, one, taking care of your injuries, but two, one thing I particularly noticed is it definitely probably the best core workout I ever had. And when it comes to core, it just helps to like stabilize the rest of the body. So I definitely recommend and check it out.
I do a lot of like compound movements. I also like to work with kettlebells. A lot of movements that, well, everything, I think you can agree as well, obviously, should require your core. So like, I do not do anything, and I would not recommend any exercise, especially if you train jiu-jitsu, like sitting down, like machines at the gym, sitting down bicep curls.
No, you don't want to be stationary. We're constantly on the move, going through different
now, I'm not
positions.
saying that's for everyone, right? Like there's different people have different things going on. So it's like if sitting down and doing the bicep machine makes you happy, then go for it. But if you're doing exercises like specifically for jiu-jitsu, there's a lot of more better things.
There's a lot. The bicep curls aren't going to help you for jiu-jitsu.
No.
Let's see. Alrighty, here, comp night, pure rolling. There we go. We're gonna get to everybody here.
Don't reap the knee unless you're going for a heel hook.
Yes, unless it's going for a heel hook.
Definitely rules and tips for prepping for IBJJF. So, depending what belt you are, what belt are you? Know the rules. So you cannot do any leg locks below. I think in the past year or two, they finally allowed belts to do knee bars and toe holds.
And heel hooks too.
Oh, and heel hooks.
No, the brown belts and black belts can do all the leg locks.
Oh, okay. I thought heel hooks were just a black belt. So yeah, if you're not a brown or black belt, absolutely no leg locks. You can do ankle locks. Can you do ankle locks at blue belt?
Yes.
What else? Your gi has to be like IBJJF approved. So, it has to be measured correctly, like they measure it before, like right before you step on the mats, when you're called into the bullpen, they measure your gi, and if it's too short or if it's ripped or, patches are cut off, then they won't let you compete. And like, they literally don't care. Making sure that your weight is on point, because if you are like 1 ounce over, you are not stepping on the mat. IBJJF is definitely not as lenient as like a Grappling Industries or a Naga or whatever else. Like, if your stuff's not on point, then you're not going to compete.
Let's see, we got a couple. Like Ido Portal, it's a little different.
Like who?
Ido Portal, he's this guy that trained Conor McGregor.
More rolls. Okay. What does your recovery for jiu-jitsu look like? It's non-existent.
Work in progress.
Rest days. I take rest days now. Like yesterday, I was really tired. I don't know why. So I didn't train. Where, in the past, I would feel guilty for not training, and I probably would just push through anyway. And I'm sure I probably would have been fine, but I went to bed early, got a great night's sleep, and today I feel like completely back to normal. So, listening to your body.
That's underrated, guys.
He rolls out his muscles a lot.
Let's see.
I'm a blue belt.
Cool.
All right. So yeah, just make sure, like we said, no leg locks at blue belt.
Nope.
Make sure your gi
is ankle lock. Ankle locks are allowed at blue belt.
Okay, ankle locks are allowed at blue belt. Only ankle locks. Make sure your gi's on point. Make sure your weight is on point. They're early. Be on time. IBJJF is usually like pretty good with being on schedule. Sometimes they're a little early, a little bit later, but you definitely don't want to not be there when they call your name. Anything else for IBJJF?
Let's see. For the IBJJF blue belts,
have your ID. You need your ID, and you need your your IBJJF card. Make sure that's up to date.
Make sure your gi is IBJJF approved. It's on their website. They have like a little rules PDF.
Yeah.
So make sure your attire is right. Make sure you have your belt nice and clean. You won't take it if it's all beat up.
Yeah.
Have a card.
Yeah, you definitely card. Have that right with you. A lot of people have those like tags that they put around their neck, and they just carry it with them when they're getting ready to go on the mat or something. I would always just kind of like hold it, like stick it in my sports bra or something and pull it out. I never got one of those like neck tags. But yeah, you want to have it ready because you need that to check in. I would also recommend weighing yourself before you actually do the official weigh-in, because the scale is there. You're allowed to step on. You're allowed to weigh yourself. And then this way you can see, if you're on point before you do like the official weigh-in. Heel hooks don't kick in until brown.
Yep. Sorry, Paul.
Yeah. Great channel. Really appreciate it. Ooh, you're from Sweden. Cool. Ander. Hello, John. Sorry for being late. Just got off work and got home.
No worries.
That's okay. How do you guys encourage and support one another in your BJJ goals? Hi, Sarah. I don't know. We just do.
That's it. Just whatever she needs help with, just
Yeah.
help her with regards to
Just
drilling or training.
make the time, you know, if there's like specific goals. I feel like right now we're both kind of just in like this like maintenance phase. We're both just like working a lot. We have the wedding coming up, so there's not like a ton of jujitsu goals happening. But if we both do have like specific goals, then we just make the time to make sure that we both reach them. You know, whether that's like, you know, I think more specifically, like if I'm competing, like you make the time for me to do more drilling, work on takedowns, whatever I want to work on.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
All that good stuff.
But that's why it's helpful. Like it's really helpful to be in a relationship with someone who is in the jiu-jitsu lifestyle, because they understand what you're going through, and they understand like
keep her
like
level-headed.
Yeah. And like, if, you know, I want to go train or you want to go train or whatever, like that person understands. If you're competing, you know, and you can't eat certain things for a couple of weeks, like person will understand, that sort of thing.
I handle being there long. This one, when she doesn't get what she wants to eat, she turns.
Yeah, he's like a lot better about cutting and not being miserable.
No-gi.
How do you go? Oh, hi. What do you prefer, gi or no gi? I go through phases. He's definitely prefers no gi. He's a wrestler, so. But I go through phases. Sometimes I'll go through a phase of like really loving no gi and like the leg locks and stuff, and then I go through other phases of, you know, liking all of like the grips and different guards that I can play with the gi. Who do you think is the best female grappler that can do both gi and no gi? My boyfriend always says to watch Maisa.
Mayasa is very good.
Yeah, she's super good.
100%.
I'm a huge, if you guys saw my video, fan of Fiona Davies. I love her. She's so good. I think she can do like gi and no gi. She's really good in both. She's super aggressive. And she's like the sweetest person ever. Go watch my video of her seminar that we took. She's so nice. And she taught really, really valuable information. I got to roll with her. She tapped me out like 6 times without even trying.
I filmed it.
I love her. Love her. Who else do I love?
Let's see. Who else is like one of your favorites? You love Fiona. Let's see. You like Claudia Duval. That's where you get.
That's where I got like a lot of my spider stuff from. Is from Claudia Duval. There's so many like high level women out there. You probably already covered this question, but what's the difference between Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Japanese?
The difference between Brazilian and Japanese Jiu-Jitsu focuses more on from a standing component, and they do a lot of joint locks and compression locks, and they don't really touch the ground. Whereas Jiu-Jitsu is known for its innovation on its groundwork. But funny enough, like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu stems from judo. And
I was thinking of
Jiu-Jitsu.
Kendall. I do like Kendall. Her wrestling is really great. She's another one that's like really aggressive. I'm trying to think who else I love that has like a really great guard.
Really great guard. Let's see. I mean, for females, besides Mayasa Bastos, she probably has one of the best guards as far as females go right now.
Tubby's another really good one. Yes,
Tubby Santana over in Florida there. She's really good. Actually, she was on a couple of recent Who's Number Ones. If any of you guys are subscribed to Flow Grappling.
Yeah.
One of you is IBJJ. Are you trying? See, Tyler.
I don't know. I don't like what he's saying.
I think he's trying to say IBJF, the same or close to BJJ.
IBJJF is a tournament organization
that runs BJJ tournaments.
Yeah. How would you guys suggest going about switching to a new gym for someone new to jiu-jitsu? How to deal with communication process when you're just getting to know people in the community?
I would start by watching a class. Or first, I'd call up the school, kind of speak to the instructor a little bit, and then say, "Hey, can I drop in and like watch a class?"
Mhm.
And then that's a perfect opportunity to view. Generally, like if it's a really great school, people be nice. They'll introduce you to themselves, and that's a great way to kind of like break into a new space, right? Like some people can like, oh, jump into a class, new problem, but like if you're switching to a new school, it's a lot. So definitely getting to know the instructor first and getting a chance to watch the class, that's the best way to get a new community.
Yeah. What is your favorite submission to get from the close guard? Kimura.
Let's see, from close guard. Let's see.
I haven't been playing a ton of close guard lately. I've usually I've been just opening up right away and trying to work on my open guard. But favorite submission from there, Kimura. That's like my go-to if like all else is failing, especially in competition. In training, I don't really do it anymore because it's just one of my go-tos now. But like in competition, if nothing else is working, then I'll get to close guard and rip a Kimura. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say. I mean, I guess like IBJJF semi-pro.
Let's see. IBJJF.
It's like
they're trying to perk that. It's technically it's amateur. They're not professional yet because they haven't got the bodies in.
Right.
Probably they're gonna get beaten out by ADCC this year because it's already gotten. I think I saw something about Gordon Ryan getting like $100,000 sponsorship from this company, and then also Forbes magazine is actually going to be involved with some of the media for it. So get ready for jiu-jitsu, guys. Jiu-jitsu is getting pushed in the limelight, but it's still like a semi-pro thing. But it's working towards after this year potentially becoming a professional sport. Not to throw around names, but did you know?
Oh yes, of
course.
Oh
yes.
Who doesn't love Jocko?
Mm-hmm.
Like super motivated. Like if you're feeling down in the dumps, if you're feeling like you don't have the motivation, like go listen to Jocko for sure. Have you ever submitted opponents with the reverse triangle from bottom side control?
Yes.
No.
I mean, let's see. From there, I have a couple students that like it personally. As far as like triangles go, it depends on the angle. If I'm lying flat on my back, it's a little hard to finish. But if I can finish on my side, and you've done this one before, and if you can kind of get a triangle around their head and the Kimura grip, I
do that from inverting.
Yeah, you do it from inverting. You can pull it off if you hip escape and you can snatch your legs around their head. You can get to the same position. But it's super effective when you're on your side and you have the Kimura grip. But if you're flat on your back, I've seen that people with longer legs generally have a higher success rate with that.
Neither of us have long legs.
Nope. Just strong and sturdy short ones.
Yeah. Roxy, stop licking the carpet. Thank you.
Let's see.
Is it very common, especially in gi? Oh, it is very common. I wouldn't call it semi-pro necessarily.
Yeah, and gi definitely not, but no gi is pushing towards that point if they keep it going with who's number one and
if they start paying these fighters, like that's what's kind of like holding them back, I feel like, because now you have all these other organizations that are paying their fighters. And like, yes, IBJJF, I think, people are always going to want to win worlds. People are always going to want to be a Pan Am champ, European champ.
But there's no money.
So it's like you're getting a medal. You're putting in,
tremendous amount of
work.
Lord
knows how much work, money. These people are dedicating their lives to it, and they're not getting any money for it. So that's why all these other organizations are, I think, kind of beating them out.
Yeah, flow grappling's taking all of that over, but it's just trying to make like jiu-jitsu like marketable and put it out in the limelight. Let's see.
Worst injury you both caused or received. Ooh. Have you really ever hurt someone?
Yeah. A few times.
Do to them?
I've choked a couple people unconscious, and
that's like no biggie.
And then let me finish her. Jeez, come on. All right. I've also popped a few feet. I've done like toe holds and knee bars and like heel hooks. I've seen crack pops. Definitely have popped a few arms from arm bars, but generally when it's happened, I've dealt with like some stubborn people, and like I'm very kind, but if I get a limb and someone's resisting and trying to fight me hard, I just go.
I don't think I've ever like
No.
Really hurt someone. One time in competition, a girl cried after a Kimura, and then she iced her shoulder, but like I'm sure she was fine.
She's fine.
Yeah. And then worst injury we both received. I mentioned this earlier. I tore the ligaments here in my thumb, and then I fractured the bone, and I was in a cast for like 6 weeks. So that was probably the worst thing I had. Luckily, no surgery, but that was the worst thing I've ever really had. Well, I've also had some neck issues, but nothing that's thankfully ever been like a crazy issue. But I have hurt my neck before, and it was probably like the scariest moment of my life.
I mean, honestly, Paul, that's something that's been talked about a long time. I see there just being a diverse amount of rule sets for a long time. I mean, I've always like, I like this all get on the same page, but then you have the people that are the points people and the submission only people, or the EVI people, the IPGF people. I mean, personally, I think thus far, like ADCC and who's number one has been the most exciting rule sets in a long time.
It forces people to like get moving.
Forces people to get moving, and just like it's consistent like action. That's what we all want. It's like rolling against the person that does nothing. It's like, okay, you could sit and hold me all day long, but what are we even doing here?
Have I ever choked out anyone? No.
No, she's too nice.
Do you guys drop into other schools when you travel? We haven't
got a really chance to like travel
too
much here.
We used to travel a lot, but a lot of times it would be for competing, and after I'm done competing, like I want nothing to do with training like the next day. So we haven't done like a ton of dropping into schools, but it's definitely on our list when we travel a little bit more. Have we ever dropped into a school where we've traveled?
Let's see, as far as like there, other than like obviously like our other home school,
we went,
Black Hole,
when
and
we went to California, we went to the 10 Planet headquarters.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But yeah, that's about it. I feel like a lot of our traveling has
been competition
based. So I want nothing to do with like training.
Yeah, so just to travel and train with some other friends, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So like we said, guys, like if you have a school that we should come to, like drop it in the comments.
Yeah.
I'd love to pay a visit. Stall calls. Yep, I feel you. We want it to progress. We'll see, Paul. I think this is going to be a very big year for jiu-jitsu, to be honest. So we'll see how it progresses.
How much does weight matter in jiu-jitsu?
A lot.
How much increase in weight would compare to an increase in belt rank? For example, 30 pounds is equivalent to a belt rank.
No. You can't really equate those two, right? No. You could have definitely
that just no. Because then if like you look at the really big like white belt guys, right? That are like
that's a perfect
190
example.
pounds. Like those are the people that like I can definitely tap them out just from skill and technique.
And that's
because they don't know what they're doing.
They don't know what the heck they're doing there.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really equate to like a rank. Like what equates to like belt rank is like if you have another grappling skill set. Like if you have, I'm a white belt, but I just finished college wrestling and I did a tad bit of judo. Like, okay, realistically, they'll probably be like a blue belt. But as far as weight and belt rank, it doesn't really correlate. In BJJ, that one move where they do a fall from standing on your feet that looks the break fall.
Break fall.
Yeah.
Do you train? Okay. Yeah.
Tri-rail.
Yeah. Do you train? He comments a lot on my videos, so I'm like, I want to know where you
standing on your feet. I think it's a heel hook. They trip your feet. Let's see.
Standing on your feet. I think it's the scissor. Trip? The scissor takedown.
Oh, is it the scissor takedown? Let's see, I wish you could send a video because that's scary. That's a move that can blow both your knees.
Yeah.
Any tips for memorizing new moves? Write it down.
Which I don't do.
Yeah, see, this is part of difficult. Like, I'm gonna break this route. Why don't you just map it out like you map out your other things? No, I don't want to do that. And then she'll come back with the same question.
Do you both think that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is dominating the martial art industry to the point it will be as common as Taekwondo was in the 80s and 90s? That's a question for you. He's a black belt in Taekwondo too.
Yeah, I've done a little Taekwondo here and there. A little bit. It's a past life, but honestly, I think it will be a big telltale sign after this year. I mean, people know about jiu-jitsu through UFC, so that's definitely helped it. But as Paul already kind of mentioned, I think the problem is that jiu-jitsu, unless you like it and you're interested in it, it's just hard to follow.
Yeah.
It's hard to like kind of market it. But
people want to see people punching.
I would recommend to everybody in the feed, pay attention to ADCC. I keep saying that a lot because if you saw the last one this year, this one looks like it's going to blow in comparison. Like the trials themselves, like if you don't have a flow grappling, I'd recommend just getting it just based off that alone, because the matches were pretty much all fire. Everybody was going for submissions. And also I'm really impressed by a lot of the younger talent, like Micah Gaval. He's a really good kid. Cole Abate. Like those are two in particular that their jiu-jitsu is just on another level.
What are your pre-jiu-jitsu and post-jiu-jitsu class routines? Pre, definitely making sure that I'm fed. And I don't like, not saying a huge meal like 30 minutes before, but I make sure I have a good meal a couple of hours
and
before.
She loves those cheese bites. That's what she's doing. That's what Elizabeth says. Little cheese bite action.
Yeah, you know, they're there. I'm going to eat them.
See, this is what she's like, I don't like this.
Yes, making sure I'm fed. Usually before, like right before, like within the hour, I like to get a little sugar. OJ's been my go-to. Maybe some fruit, something like that.
She's up here.
She's up here. Oh, okay. What else? I also like, this doesn't, I don't know. I like to make sure like I'm clean before jiu-jitsu.
She takes like 5 showers before she goes.
Yeah, like I don't know. I like to make sure I smell good before jiu-jitsu. I just like to make sure I'm fresh before class. That's just me. Maybe that's because like, I don't know, I'm a girl and I just like to be fresh. Post jiu-jitsu, eat. That's it. Eat and go to sleep. I think you love those cheese bites.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Hey, Cece, I started jiu-jitsu recently. I struggle with perfection and always being good at everything I do. How do I deal with anger when I don't understand? Wow, are we best friends?
Oh
like,
my gosh,
hello?
this is her in a nutshell. Take it away, you angry little difficult purple belt woman.
Oh man,
come on.
I don't know. I didn't do anything specific. I think for me, it was just like training. I mean, that's not good advice at all, but like, just, I don't know.
She just got in class and just faced you. Basically, you're facing yourself. That was basically the beginning of your training.
That's really what it was. Like, I was my own worst enemy when I first started training. There is like nothing else like stopping me except me. Nothing else stopping me from growing, like except me. I was, like I said, I was like my worst enemy.
You gotta get into class.
I just kept training, you know. I don't really. I think I wish that I would have been more open-minded when I first started about just like
that was the biggest
learning
thing.
Something new. Like I hate
not
knowing what I'm doing. I hate like being brand new at something. So I just wish that when I first started, like that first year, especially like the first 6 months, I would have been a little bit more open to like just being new at something and like being okay with not knowing what I'm doing.
Being okay with the spazzy white belt.
But I was very hard on myself, which is so dumb, like because jiu-jitsu is so hard. But yeah, I think just be open-minded. You know, it's okay to not know how to do something. Like jiu-jitsu is really hard. And that's why even like Todd's been doing it for what, like 12, 13 years. And like he's like, you're never an expert.
It never
It
ends.
never ends. So if you're just beginning and you're getting frustrated with yourself and you're angry because you don't know what you're doing and you're not good at it, like
Take a breath.
take a breath, accept it, and just train. Like there's nothing else I think that can really help those feelings except just more time on the mat. Like that's it.
Yeah, she is.
Paul.
So that's why
I'm the girl, like if you've ever seen those memes where like where it's like when he asks you if you want anything from the store and you say no,
she'll
and then
throw a pout.
and then he actually doesn't bring you back anything. Like that's me.
I'll mess with her too. I was like, I don't have anything. What? An ice cream. Yeah, she's that girl.
How do you know if you're getting instructions from a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu instructor? Ooh. Well,
I got this. So what you want to look for is number one is just
you want to split it?
yes. Give me that thing. Thank you. Like that's the first thing I look for in like a great instructor is just are they like competent? And what I mean by that is this is just when you interact with them, when they ask you questions, like they'll be honest. They'll say the things they know and they'll say the things they don't know. If you meet someone who acts like they have all the answers, like that's a red flag. And then also when you actually see them teach a technique, just let me keep going. It's like tongue tied. See them teach a technique. It's like, are they like breaking it down? Like, for example, it's like, all right, guys, this is the Kimura. Here I go. I'm going to twist the arm. Any questions? Anybody? Okay, great. Break.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Like, I haven't even time to like process where your hips are and your grips are. Like, for example, Kim's instructor, Mateus Utis, who's a black belt under Marcelo Garcia and a friend of mine, like he does a good job of like taking his time, really thoroughly going through the technique, giving you the different angles, and like will be very persistent about, hey, Kimberly,
oh my God,
make sure you do this right.
Every detail.
You never catch it when I do it right.
Yeah.
Because you need to be more consistent. I said, yes, Mateus. Good.
Yeah, I think just seeing like them showing it from all different angles, really breaking down the move, and also like them being open to like your questions and like really answering your questions. And then also the biggest thing that I noticed like really with Mateus is like he goes around to every single person in the room like multiple times. And like, you know, the instructors are always watching. You know, if they're a good instructor, they're always watching. Even if they're all the way across the room, like they're still watching you. So yeah, that's how I think, you know, they're a good instructor.
He tells me the same thing to just keep going.
That's it. It's all you can do.
Awesome.
The dinner bell hath rung.
Totally serious that my guest room is open.
Well, thank you. We definitely want to make a trip to Colorado one of these days. What do you guys do to celebrate your BJJ victories, competitions, mastering a new move, achieving a goal you've been working towards? And how do you guys cope with BJJ losses? To celebrate victory, we eat.
Yes.
We find like a really, really good meal.
Yes. That's really all I need. I don't really.
But yeah, that's like we're pretty simple. Yeah. Like we just need to eat. Like that's it.
How do you cope with BJJ losses? Pound my fist on the ground and then take a breath and just kind of simmer down.
I don't know. I've been having a hard time with that lately.
What did you do to get past the last tough match?
I cried.
Okay.
And then I had people like give me pep talks. I don't know. I just went back to training and that was it.
I mean, that's really the moral story. It's just like, get out what other frustrations you have, and then you just get back on the mat and recalibrate, right?
Yeah.
You could say that is life. It's like, what are you going to do? It's like the performance wasn't what you wanted. You got to go back out there and perform again.
Yeah. So coping with losses. take it for what it is. Filming your matches is always really helpful because then whether you win or lose, you can go back and watch it and see where you messed up. After you lose, you know, if you need time to yourself, that's totally fine. Take a breath and then just get right back into training. Sometimes it's really helpful to get right back into competition. Sometimes it's helpful to take a break and just train for a little while. So play with that and see, what works better for you. Is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu okay or safe for people who have asthma, or should they not even try? Mild asthma still needing an inhaler, but only once in a while.
Yes, you can train it. It's just the main thing is just to make sure, obviously, one, of course, like you make that aware to the professor, and then two, just kind of pacing yourself. Don't feel like you're obligated to have to do all the rolls. If you feel like after a roll, like having trouble catching my breath,
listen to your body. That's really important.
Yes,
that's really important for everyone, like no matter what. But if you have like a specific medical condition, like just being in tune with your body, and like you said, if you can't do every single round, like that's okay.
I found it harder. Yes, when you're getting punched in the face, it's a different type of ordeal.
Yeah.
I can just think of my friend Gareth hitting me in the nose. But that's what best friends do. They hit each other, I think.
How do you think good instructors should treat girls that are training versus boys? Should they treat them differently?
I mean, I treat them with both equal respect.
Yeah.
I don't try to
I don't think you need to treat them differently.
It's just like, I think you got to know how to communicate with like other people. Like you have to, I think kind of going back to another person's question, a trademark of a good instructor is they just know how to communicate with different people well, because you're dealing with a lot of different personalities at once. But the one thing that's consistent, even though everybody's different, is like they all want to get better at jiu-jitsu. So it's like, hey, like the tonality might like shift. So for example, perfect example between, let's say I've coached a lot. So I've done junior high wrestling, like kids, like middle school kids were a perfect example, because at that age, I'm sure we can all agree, like we're all over the place, like boys and girls. And when it came down to coaching them, it's like you have one kid that's like super upbeat and hyper and like all over the place. You have to be like, hey, let's get it together. Versus the one that's a little bit quieter, like I'll kind of level down the tone, but I'll still be like serious. And I think that's when it comes to like teaching like the different people, like it'll be consistent, the instruction, but how you might articulate to one person versus the other, like you watch your tone of voice. Like some people don't need to be yelled at. Like you kind of get a sense of the room as like you get to know different people.
Yeah. Are you guys planning on opening a school together? That's the goal.
In the future, in the next couple of years.
That's the goal.
Just
not in New York.
Nope.
You're more of a ground guy, but you don't train jiu-jitsu?
Oh, try.
Are you going to start training?
Try rail. Get on the jiu-jitsu mats already. Let's see. All right. Let's see. Anybody?
Oh my God, it's 7:15. We have to go.
Yeah, we got to go get our farm goods. We've been having such a good time here.
Every Friday we go and pick up raw milk from a farm that travels from Pennsylvania. The Amish, they come and bring all the farm goods to a town that's not too far from us. So we got to go get our raw milk. If you guys follow me on Instagram, I can't stop talking about raw milk. Is it better to train a student? Why not New York? Because it stinks. New York is like the worst place in the world.
Yeah, basically. Jump on the train and come to Texas.
Oh my God, girl, I wish. Where is it better to train a student who has no martial arts background compared to those who have various trainings? Is it better to?
It depends on the individual, to be honest.
I mean, everyone is trainable. Everyone is coachable.
I mean, you could have, so for example, you can have, I think it's the mentality, right? So for example, a thing that happens with like wrestlers that come in the room, I was one of them, is like kind of killing the ego really fast. Because like I'm a wrestler, I'm bad, I can slam anyone.
Come to Northern Indiana.
And if they're open, like if they're open to it, like they're great. But like if they're like, oh, I don't need to listen to anything, it's like, it's a waste of time. They could be like the talented athlete, but if they're not willing to like reciprocate, like, hey, like this is a new arena, like don't try to like spike people on their heads and do like cartwheels and backflips, we'll have a good time. Like honestly, I'd prefer someone who's like a fresh background.
I think
because
it's really
to
rewarding.
see
like,
them,
to like mold them, right? Like you always said that about me, like you
yes,
like molded me from the beginning, right? So it's like someone who has no experience in like any of this stuff, and then one day they're training and they're out there competing and they're
Yep.
doing their thing,
and she
it's
never
like,
thought of competing at all. It's like,
you
are
know.
you kidding me? I got to get on the mat first.
Do you want to visit Brazil? Yeah, maybe one day.
We have to go to Brazil.
All right.
What? Get out of here. You crazy?
I always hear a lot of stuff about the state you're in, wonder why they have more high paid jobs.
Because they have to try and get people back in here because all the rich people left.
Yeah. I mean, everything is just expensive here. New York is just a stupid place. Usually I'm the smallest person at the gym, and sometimes I can't do the technique due to size difference and the person is heavier. What are your thoughts on that? Oh man, I feel like I've talked about this so much in my videos. Go watch my videos.
Yeah, definitely go watch the
There's
video.
like,
It's like
so much to talk about there.
It's tough. Tough to.
The gym is lame.
Oh my
What
God.
gym?
Working out is lame, and so is healthy eating.
Working
Miles,
out-
you're in the wrong chat.
Miles,
Get out of here.
go away.
Troll. It's there. I'll block you.
Any experience training with pregnant women? If so, what has that been like?
Generally, like
no,
pregnant women. I don't see pregnant women really rolling. Generally, like,
no. There's a lot of women actually that train when they're pregnant. I haven't personally trained with them, but like from the if you're a woman and you're here, and you're not already part of it, go join on Facebook, the Women's Grappling Network. There's a ton of women that train throughout their whole pregnancy. I don't personally understand how. I think that's a very personal decision. I personally wouldn't feel safe doing that. But there's a ton of women who are out there training with people that they're comfortable with.
Right. I think that's important. It's not like they're like
and
out
knowing,
rolling and like.
Yeah, and like knowing what positions they can and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I don't know if it's the safest thing in the entire world, but what are your favorite submissions right now? Toe holds. Miles, go away. Elizabeth, absolutely not. I wouldn't say absolutely not. Richard, there are plenty of women that do it, and like I said, it's like what you feel comfortable with and what makes you feel safe. If you have a couple of maybe drilling partners and you feel comfortable drilling with them throughout your pregnancy, you know, and you have maybe a doctor that like has any idea what jiu-jitsu is and they give you the okay, I don't know, maybe. But you know, that's totally up to the individual. I think
that's about it. We got to go.
We should head out.
Guys,
we are gonna head out. We have to go pick up our raw milk from the Amish people.
Yeah, and guys, if there's a question we didn't get to, she'll go back through all the comments and then maybe get a video, maybe respond back there. But this was fun.
But this was fun. We loved answering your questions and chatting. We hope that this was kind of helpful, and we should definitely do it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Ducky Frog Dog, you're welcome. Bye, Elizabeth. How do I get out of this thing?
You just end the stream,
all
darling.
Right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.